Mike Pachelli here, coming to you with another early Beatles lesson. This time I'll be talking about You Can't Do That. It was written in Miami Beach between February 13th and the 21st, 1964, while the Beatles were doing their first visit to the United States and appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show. The song was written entirely by John Lennon, and it was the first song he wrote without Paul McCartney for the Beatles. John probably wrote the song about his jealousy towards his wife Cynthia. You know, John was known as a jealous guy back then. And it was written for the movie that they were going to film and also for their next album. And there was a sequence filmed of the Beatles playing it in A Hard Day's Night, but that was cut and never used in the movie. It ended up on the cutting room floor, as they say. They recorded the song on February 25th, 1964, which was George Harrison's 21st birthday. John played and sang live on the recording. So did Paul and George. They did 9 takes, and take 9 is the one that we know and love, ended up being the final take. They did a take 10 with George Martin playing piano, but the Beatles wisely, once again, didn't listen to George Martin and didn't use that take. They used take 9. It was the first time John Lennon played lead guitar, and I'll talk about his solo in a little bit. It's a great solo full of rock and roll, wild abandon, and Lennon bravado. John played his Rickenbacker 325. George played a Rickenbacker 360-12, something like this one, that was given to him during that first visit while they were doing the Sullivan Show by the Rickenbacker Company. And it was the second Rickenbacker 360-12 that was ever made. And a word about these 12 strings, they are absolutely a nightmare to keep in tune. If you could keep it in tune for 3 songs, that's quite a feat. And no matter how you adjust the harmonics, and you actually have to tune it depending on what voicings of chords you're going to use. So careful what you wish for. They're expensive. And I always say that without the Beatles, there probably we wouldn't be a Rickenbacker guitar company anymore. It's my own personal opinion. The song was mixed the day after they recorded on February 26th, and it ended up being the B-side of Can't Buy Me Love, and it was released March 16th in the USA as a single, and it appeared first on the UK album A Hard Day's Night. So that's the backstory of You Can't Do That, and let's get started. George Harrison has a simple but iconic riff in You Can't Do That. It's based off of a G triad. You take the root, the third, and the fifth. G, B, D. And you also need a G, a B flat, and a D. And those are the notes, and it's played like this. So it's G, B, G, B flat, B, right? And that's the riff. Now, if you listen very closely on the intro, you could hear that when he plays that B flat, he also gets the D note slightly. His pick just slightly hits the second string, something like this. But just on the intro. For the rest of the song, it's pretty much just single notes. And he has so much restraint not playing little extra accidentals. He lets that thing breathe because he's singing and playing live too, so he wants to make sure he gets that riff iconically perfect. And he does. Okay, first time he goes to C7, he plays this voicing of C7, and he just lightly plays it and arpeggiates, and you hear 2 prominent notes. You hear the open first string and a C on the second string, and then back to the riff. Now that's the only time. This time, right before that next D7, he plays an F to a G. Right? He goes, and then to a D7. So, and then a D7 voice like this. and he anticipates into beat 1. The rest of the band plays the C7 on 1. George slides into it. He goes, right? And then back to the riff. And then a little walk up, which is 4th string open to 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. So from the D7, now once in a while you can hear George playing an extra G on the riff, like, but for the most part he really has a lot of restraint and a lot of respect for how the importance of the riff, and you hear in the mix they mix it in and out, rather prominently to make it extra cool. Okay, so then on the middle 8, yeah. Oh, you know what? The second time he plays the C7, I should mention this first. He doesn't use this voicing. He uses this voicing, just a 3-note. He kind of voiced like this. But he's not playing that the 2nd string. He's just playing the 5th, 4th, and 3rd. All right, just kind of moving around that. Back to the riff. And then a D7, voiced the same way. Anticipating down. Back to the riff. So you couldn't play the entire D7 chord, because that F sharp would clash with the F that John is singing. Because John's kind of, with his F on the D7, is insinuating like a D7 raised 9. Right? Totally fall. And then I like to voice it like this with my 1, 4, 2nd finger. You can get it cleaner. Okay, and then on the middle 8, George plays a straight B chord first, like that, to an E minor, like this, and you hear he picks a B and a G. So it's everybody's. That's a B, G, B, sort of, in honor of the main riff, and then A minor to B minor to the riff. Second time, George again plays a straight beat. Once again to an E minor voice like this. A minor, B minor, and then a D like this, straight D. Back to the riff. Oh, sorry. Back to a C voice like this, C7. D7 up here. Now, when John plays his lead guitar solo, George plays a little fuller on the C7s. He plays a little. You can hear him play the E, like. Back to the riff. And then on the D7 also. Oh, he slides into the D7. Right? And then slides down to C7 and the lift. Okay? So, I think those are all the parts, really, yeah. Oh, except at the very end, when he plays his riff, he plays. That's so nice. And it's just the same riff. Then an F, hammer on, and then use your 2nd finger to slide up. All right? And those are all the parts George Harrison plays in You Can't Do That. As usual, John Lennon plays fantastically on these early Beatle tunes, and You Can't Do That is no exception. He starts off by playing very lightly underneath George Harrison's iconic riff, and John is just voicing a G major triad, root, 3rd, 5th, and he plays this little line very softly. He plays. Right? So it's like 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Just very lightly, listen to the record. And then he comes blasting in with his G7. So you need this G7. To play the verse, you'll need just these three chords. A G7 like this, a C7, and a D7. Now remember, John is singing and playing live, as are the rest of the Beatles, but he accents pretty much what he sings a lot. So he starts off with, really getting that downbeat with Ringo. Okay, so catch you, and to the C7, lightly on the C7, because he's singing his heart out. Leave you flat. Now when he gets to the G7 again, they're singing, George and Paul are singing, gonna let you down and leave you flat. And John kind of mimics that on his rhythm. So from the C7, leave you. The first time he almost plays it exactly. Then a D7, told you before, and he plays the C7 on the downbeat, even though George is anticipating it. You can't do. And then on the turnaround for the D7, all on the upbeat. So, you can't do. All right. Second verse is just about the same, but he starts he starts right on the accenting the 2 and 4. It's almost like Wooly Booly, C7. G7, D, can't. Now on the middle 8, First John plays this B7, and he just kind of strums it because again they're singing their hearts out to an E minor. Strums a little harder on an A minor, to B minor, to the G7. Again, B7, voice like this. E minor, A minor, B minor to D7. Leave you flat. And then the real magic begins. This is just great John Lennon solo, first time he ever played a lead guitar solo on a Beatle record. It goes like this. He's barring his G chord like this, and he just plows through it to a C, like, and then this really cool move. So it's like taking the 3rd string, 5th fret, and bending it up to get a unison of the D, 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then moving up to the 6th fret. Right? Again, like a Chuck Berry move, and bending the 6th. And then some double stops. Now, they're on the C chord, and he intrinsically hears this little B flat note. He goes, you hear him hit that to a like a G7 form, like up here. And he slides down that B note to an A, and then another double stop. Again, unison picking. Open strings, G. It's just so raucous rock and roll. Let me get a close-up of that for you. Then after the solo, back to the B, A minor, B minor, G, B7 again, E minor. Then on these A minors, he pounds all the way through eighth notes. And then the last verse. And leave you. And George plays it out. Those are all John Lennon's part. Well, again, for fun, I put it all together, so use this as a reference.
I got something to say that might cause you pain. If I got you talking to that boy again, I'm gonna let you down and leave you there. Because I told you before, oh, you can't do that. Well, it's the second time I caught you talking to him. Do I have to tell you one more time? I think it's a sin. I think I let you down. Let you down. Leave you flat. Gonna let you down and leave you flat. Because I told you before, oh, you can't do that. Everybody's green, 'cause I'm the one who won your love. But if they see you talking that way, they laugh in my face. So please listen to me if you wanna be mine. I can't have my feelings, I go out of my mind. I'm gonna let you down. Let you down. And leave you flat. Gonna let you down and leave you flat. Because I told you before, you can't do that. Wow. You can't do that. 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 Everybody's green, 'cause I'm the one who won your love. But if they see you talking that way, they laugh in my face. So please listen to me if you wanna stay mine. I can't have my feelings, I go out of my mind. I go and let you down. Let you down. And leave you flat. Gonna let you down and leave you flat. Because I told you before, oh, you can't do that.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that. It's fun for me to try and do. And as you learn the song, play along with that video as a reference. If you'd like to drop me a line, do so at mikepachelli.com. And please subscribe to this channel. And remember, when you play songs like You Can't Do That, have fun doing it, because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. So until next time, thanks for hanging out with me.